Hello and welcome to my Bolt EUV. I am Jim. We're going from point A to point B. Climb in, let's go. Recently I had a nice conversation with a couple of friends on the back porch talking about EV charging, especially the Bolt, and how it's not a very good car for a road trip. Let's drop in and have a listen to that conversation. Hey Bubba, I heard you got a new car. What'd you get?
I got me one of them there Tesla Model Ys. Why? I don't know. You get it? Why? That thing really screams, though.
I bet. How do you like it?
Man, it's great, especially on the road. It charges like greased lightning.
You're so right, Bubba.
Yeah, the Bolt is slow about everything. It's slow on the road. It only does 90 miles an hour.
92, you moron.
It can only go from 0 to 60 in about 10 seconds.
6 to 7 seconds, stupid.
What did you say?
Methinks Jim may be getting a little upset with us. We're smacking his Bolt down and he don't like it at all.
Yeah, his car's pretty much a city commuter. It can't be used for road tripping.
It would take you like 3 weeks to go from here to Atlanta and back again.
Yeah, you clog up a fast charger for like an hour. Tick off all them fast charging cars like the Tesla. And you can only get about 100 miles in an hour. That's pathetic.
Everyone knows that you cannot road trip in a Bolt. It's too slow to charge and as uncomfortable as a horse and wagon.
That's right. Like I said, you're going to tick off all them people at the fast charger. Plain and simple. Plain and simple.
You boys think you're so smart. Here, hold my root beer. I'll be right back. So I took off on a 3-state road trip just to prove these two knuckleheads wrong. This is going to be a 3-part video. You're looking at part 1 right now, the trip from Central Florida to Atlanta. Here we go. So I started out with a little charge at the OUC Plaza in Orlando. We were above 80%, at 87% to be exact, and this is not what you're supposed to do at a DC fast charge, but I wanted to take a look at the charging curve just to see what it's like. It's okay to say charge above 80 to 85% if you need that last little oomph to get you over the hump to the next destination. This was for demonstration purposes only. So I've connected to the Charge Up app here at the Orlando Utility Commission to start my charge, and I'm getting between 18 and 20 kilowatt hours. I was actually at 87% when I plugged in. I've taken a few screenshots from the charging app and from my scanner app just to get a look at what the battery is doing. And I'm gonna hang up here now and go back and watch the charge on the scanner app to make sure everything's going okay. Okay, I sat here for about 45 minutes and I let it run through a few diagnostics at the top end of the charge. It actually took less than 30 minutes to reach 100%, which is kind of fascinating. A little bit faster than charging at home, but not much. On the second leg of my trip now, which is about a 6-mile trip to pick up my wife, Mrs. Jim, from her work, and then we're on the road. I'll see you again in Lake City, probably in about 2.5 hours. So we made it to Lake City and started charging, and here are the results. All total, we were on the Lake City Park and Ride charger for about 53 minutes, which is much longer than I wanted to be. But we arrived with only 14% state of charge and charged to 74%. This was the best charge that we had in the entire trip. We were averaging about 152 miles per hour. Of note, when I was doing a deep battery scan at this site, the battery temperature was still above 80 degrees Fahrenheit. Been here for just about 25 minutes and have added 75 miles, 40%, and I've got about 20% left to go. After leaving Lake City, we headed north and stopped in Tifton, Georgia for an overnight at the Country Inns and Suites. It's extremely important to understand that I plugged in overnight there and kept the battery rather warm, which means that it accepted charges rather well the next day, but things changed, and you'll see that in part 2. Additionally, we were driving 70 to 75 miles per hour the entire time, so our miles per kilowatt hour suffered as a result. Okay, we just left Tifton, Georgia, overnight charged. Got up to about 96% overnight. We were only there about 7 hours. And we're now on our way to our next stop in Forsyth, Georgia. Electrify America station there in front of the Walmart. That should be in about an hour and a half. And from there we will move to Peachtree Corners in just outside of Atlanta, get another charge and stay the night there. Tomorrow will be another adventure. So as we were heading down the road to Forsyth from Tifton, I plugged in my scanner just to see what the battery temperatures were looking like, and as a result of being plugged in overnight, the battery remained above 75 degrees Fahrenheit. This was important as it made sure that we got a very good and fast charge when we got to Forsyth. As I've stated before, 30 to 70% is the best part of the curve. We are actually arrived in Forsyth with 21% and charged to 69%, which added about 90 miles of range, which is all we needed to get to Peachtree Corners. Miles per hour, about 138. The battery was still relatively warm. Back in Peachtree, Georgia, at an Ultium fast charge EVgo station, Zabrina to be exact. And we're already plugged in and charging. I did a charge in Forsyth just a few miles back. I'll plug that into the video, but this is again one of my favorite chargers. Pretty busy, as you can see here. We have a Hyundai and another Bolt here charging, and again one of my favorite chargers here, right in front of a Target in Peachtree Corners. So it turns out that we got a pretty good charge there in Peachtree Corners for our last charge on this first part of the trip. There will be 2 more parts, part 2 and part 3, which will document the travels from Atlanta to Enterprise, Alabama, and from Enterprise, Alabama home. Part 2 and part 3 of this video series will talk about how much cold impacted the charging sessions that we experienced along this route, and I'll go into greater detail on those particular videos. The Bolt EUV charge stats for part 1 of this road trip: 497 miles. We were on a DC fast charger for 1 hour 47 minutes. We shopped, ate, or had a restroom break for 42 of those minutes for a net total of 1 hour and 5 minutes waiting. Other charging sessions were the demo charge that I did at the beginning of this video. I did not count that towards the charging time because I did not need it. And the hotel level 2 charge we got overnight while we were sleeping. Total charge costs for part 1, $21.96 for a net cost per mile of about 22.5 cents per mile. Again, we're going to go into more detail in part 2 and part 3 of how cold impacts the charging times, and we're also going to talk about how rain and cold and speed reduce your miles per kilowatt hour. So thanks for stopping by. Remember to subscribe, share, comment, and like, and ring the notification bell if you want to know when I upload something new. Also, remember, treat everyone with kindness, put a smile on your face, help someone today, and pay it forward when someone does the same. Again, thanks for stopping by. Be sure to come back for part 2 and part 3, where we will wrap up the entire cost for this 1,200 plus mile trip from Central Florida to Atlanta to Southeast Alabama back into Central Florida. Thanks again. See you soon.